That's work written by Aleister Crowley, the late Aleister Crowley, my very good friend.
I have been studying the technology of Scientology since I was 9 years old. I have been studying the technology of Scientology since I was 9 years old. Facts. I've been studying the technology of Scientology over 14 years of my life. Facts. I've been studying the technology of Scientology over 14 years of my life. And it has only made me a better black man. And it has only made me a better black man. It has only made me a better Muslim. And it has only made me a better black man. It has only made me a better Muslim. It has only helped me to understand, oh, wait a minute, that's our technology.
Yeah, bro.
Now, you know, I feel you, and I was like, okay, because I used to watch you, like I said, beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I did my research. What is you doing over there with them white folks at Scientology? Tom Cruise, John Travolta, what in the hell are you doing?
I ain't never met John Travolta or Tom Cruise. So that means anything that's in my community, where my people at, which Scientology is in our community, I need to know what the hell that is.
I feel you.
I have been studying the technology of Scientology since I was 9 years old. I have been studying the technology of Scientology since I was 9 years old. I've been studying the technology of Scientology over 14 years of my life.
I feel you on that.
That's my duty. I need to know what the hell that is.
Yeah, true to common peace in war times. This is why I was accusing Mr. Pierre and them of poor journalism, especially in the research department area. And this is also another reason why it's good to have pictures, right? Again, Rizza Islam was into Scientology, then he joined the nation. He's lying and telling Mr. Pierre he was in the nation and because they study a little bit of everything, which is a lie. The Nation of Islam, when you really look into what they was into, origins, it was nothing but the Bible. All right, and a little bit of the Quran, and not even the historical part of Muhammad of 1400 some years ago, because that's in a whole nother country. That's why they was given a corrupt version of Al-Islam and started adding Pan-Africanism to it, as they call it, what they call Garveyism, and then a little bit of the more science temple information, whatever, and a Japanese militancy, because Japan was funding the Nation of Islam in its early days, okay, and whatever other type of history that dealt with what was going on over here, mostly politics. Anything else about Africa, what you seeing later on, that's stuff that certain members start adapting. Just like Malcolm said, rest in power, that it's nothing in Elijah Muhammad's teachings that glorifies Africa. These are facts. You have to go back to the origin of their teachings, not what these people are adopting into their cult. All right, you have to look at the origins, and this is how they tricking you. This fool right here was a Scientologist first. All right, then he jumped into the Nation of Islam, and he's working both ends. That's why he said right here, look, what I wore tonight to Scientology New Year's Eve event. Did that sound like you studying something? If you studying something from the perspective he's trying to present it, like he was just studying it because it was in his community and that was it. Let's like give you a good example. Let's say you were studying Satanism or some other type of cult, or let's say even the deepness of Freemasonry. How many of y'all will go join those organizations if you say you're gonna study it? You understand? A lot of this is the lies. He was going to a New Year's Eve event. Now remember, he said he was studying Scientology since he was 9 years old. He don't look 9 years old in this picture. He looked like somebody that grew up in there as a Scientologist. And he joined and he got both. See, that's the power of the SM pen on the right and my NOI pen on the left. He was in both, but he did not start out as a Muslim. This guy is a clown and a liar, just like Farrakhan and them doing the same thing, playing both sides of the fence because it's a money thing. as well as a corrupt spirit being in the midst of both of these organizations, and Farrakhan using his folks to bring money into Scientology so he can line his pockets, and Rizza Islam is following the same suit that Scientology was doing in the reverse, is pulling in black people to confuse them and line their pockets. But this is why you have to do thorough research. I'm showing Pierre and them, this is how you do it. Y'all inviting people on y'all shows and not looking at what they're into first. Therefore, when you do that, if you decide to move forward, you'll have everything lined up and it'll save you a lot of wasted time. All they did was give Rizza more gasoline to keep going further into the community and tricking people. Again, this dude is a liar and a clown, and this is why he done ended up on that disinformation dozens list. And just like the movies in the early days, black people got killed first. And I'm pretty sure that it's some other people been in this game longer than Dr. Rashid Buttar, rest in power, right? And the other black man on that list, and this individual. But look who they took out first. They took out the black people first. They took out the black man first. This idiot didn't really understand the weight of his own words when he said, well, y'all think it's a joke. Y'all don't know how real it is. Evidently, you don't know how real it is, because nobody else who got it they right mind would run out there in front of the public talking about these people unless they really understood what they was doing. And they knew they was running the chance of dying. And guess what? People who do that usually want to make sure they path is clear and they got a good conscience and a clear heart and a clear mind. Because you, sir, is an attention whore. You putting your own life on the line for accolades, and you're not concerned about what's going to happen to you when you pass away. Because if you did, you will move different. Because the Nation of Islam believe in heaven and hell, so evidently you must think you got a clear ticket to go somewhere after all that scheming and scamming of $4 million, and you go on to court next month on the 26th at 8:30 in the morning, room 104. See, people like you deserve to be removed from the sight of the people because you're a clown. So we're going to move on with this liar. Let's go.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did not sell out to a white man. I will debate anyone on Scientology.
The enemy pretty much is coming up against all of us as of right now.
I will debate anyone. Any scholar. I'm not the scholarly scholar brother, but when it comes to the connection of the Nation of Islam and Scientology or the Church of Scientology, you cannot defeat anything that I will say, because I've been studying it for nearly 20 years of my life. The Church of Scientology has done more for humankind than most religious groups combined. The Church of Scientology has done more for humankind than most religious groups combined.
You will be in the public eye. Beware of them cameras. Oh, them cameras are bad as any narcotic.
And it's not their technology, it's ours. It's original Black, Moorish, Asiatic people's technology that L. Ron Hubbard went, studied, gathered, put together, and put in a language that we could all agree. That's what he did. The Church of Scientology has done more for humankind than most religious groups combined.
One brother, and this is actually something I've been curious about, Brother Patrick Muhammad said, Assalamu alaikum, family. Please address to our people about Dianetics and why we use it. Thank you. Yes, please, brother, help me understand the connection between Scientology and the Nation of Islam, because a lot of us are confused by this, and we would like to get some clarification.
You will be in the public eye. Beware of them cameras. Oh, them cameras are bad as any narcotic.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I'll say, the majority of what you hear
is absolute lies from people who know nothing what they're talking about. I've seen so much stuff. It's really sad to hear most of what I've been hearing about. But as someone who, like, for example, me, we're taught to seek knowledge from cradle to grave. Even if we have to go to far off China, doesn't mean we have to be Chinese. I'm absolutely not Chinese. But if you got something over there, let me see what it is that you got. And if you're bringing something into my community, let me see what that is. I need to know what's going on with my people, what you're trying to do here. So that means anything that's in my community, where my people at, which Scientology is in our community, I need to know what the hell that is.
I feel you.
So rather than just saying, I don't like this, I'm not, no, let me go study it. I went to college. Most of us went to college. Most of us had white teachers. Most of us had white professors. All right, so you white, but let me see what you're teaching. So I studied Scientology. I've been studying Scientology for over 15 years. So I know more than possibly, I would say anyone in this generation. I'm not being arrogant. I'm just literally saying about the last 15 years I've studied it. So that technology is ours. That information is ours. And if you read Dianetics, and particularly on the first page of the book, and I'm paraphrasing, L. Ron Hubbard in this book, he said, this is a collection of over 50,000 years of thinking men upon which Dianetics and Scientology would not be possible. The credit is theirs, not mine. End quote. I said, oh, so an honest white man who admitted that he got this information from the black man. Okay, I can appreciate that, because he's possibly one of the only ones who's ever openly admitted that, listen, I got this from you. This is yours. I traveled over there to Africa. I studied this from your people. I traveled to and met with the Buddhist monks. I got this from y'all. I got this from... So I said, oh, okay, cool. I got that. Now, here's the difference. People who do not know what they're talking about, who possibly have never been to a Scientology org or whatever, and you don't have to be a Scientologist or whatever. Just same thing if you come to the mosque, you don't have to call yourself a Muslim. But if you just want to gain the knowledge for yourself so that you can find something wrong, even if that's your intention, I want to find something wrong. All right, come sit down and study with us. Right. Don't be afraid. Come in, sit down and talk to us, ask questions. You bring up Malcolm all the time, okay, well, talk to us. Even though I wasn't born until 1990, but still people ask me about it as if I was alive, but fine. Just ask these questions. So I decided to go check it out. And I'm listening, I'm like, okay, Dianetics, the study of the mind, the study of the soul. Okay, not psychology, not psychiatry, nothing to do with drugs. Matter of fact, in that book, it talks heavily about how the white man has used manipulations of psychology to destroy the original man. Constantly throughout that book, L. Ron Hubbard talks about how the evil of the white man has destroyed the original people of the earth, period. He's exposing a lot about what white people are doing. So I recommend everybody read the book. If you have any questions about it, just read it.
Now,
that's really with anything.
Now, what do you say to people that say, all right, there might be some information in there, but L. Ron Hubbard himself was a wicked man. He was quoted as saying he was the devil himself and all of this type of stuff. Like, what do you say to that? Because it kind of seems like, Dianetics, that's a thing. Like that, y'all. I've heard y'all say it's a tool. You know what I mean? It's a tool to be used. Sure. Just like Vlad's platform was a tool. You see what I'm saying? But then there's the person who, might not be as good as the tool that you're using. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of when you actually study it for yourself. Like what you just brought up as far as him saying he's a devil himself and all that. I've never read that. Now, again, mind you, I'm not coming from a YouTube perspective. I'm coming from his actual.
This is his son saying this, that his father.
Oh yeah, I've watched that interview with his son. Who I've seen all kinds of people talk. But my only question is, so you know how it is with us, brother. We study. We don't just listen to what people are talking about. Show me where it says that. See, I'm a researcher. I don't go off of just people talking. Show me that. Where is it at? I have debated people. Brother, I debated 3 people at once on YouTube, and people can go look at this, where I literally listened to everything they said. It was 2.5 hours long. I'm listening to them. Mind you, I'm not defending Scientology. I'm not defending L. Ron Hubbard. I'm just telling you what's actual fact. The white man don't need help lying.
Right.
He's the skunk of the planet Earth. Yes, he is that devil. That is a definite. So he don't need help lying.
Right.
If that's what it is, I mean, it's just being real. So that's clear. However, if there's something you got, like we're on YouTube wasn't created by a black man. Components of the internet were, but YouTube was not established by a black man.
Right.
Like, let's just be real. This phone I'm using parts of it were taken from Africa, but it was established by a white man's company. You see, so if we want to go tit for tat about this nonsense, let's be real across the board. But if there's something like that statement, as far as I'm saying he's a devil and all that kind of stuff, these are red herrings, these are straw man arguments that have no basis. In fact, in my 15 years, there is no one who has been studying it in my generation, in the black community, who refers to himself as being a conscious individual, FOI, etc., who has studied it longer than I have. So I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, show me. I want to see that.
You will be in the public eye. Beware of them cameras. Oh, them cameras are bad as any narcotic.
All right, 2 minute kind of piece on war time. We finna get into the show and prove, as Mr. Islam was speaking about, right? So he heard it, but he never seen it. Remember, he been studying it since he was 9 years old, and then he said 15 years. All right, so you add 15 years to 9 means he was at 21, from 9 years old to 21. He said he was studying that. He never seen that or whatever, or he heard it, but Sean, so we gonna get into that. All right, so this right here came from the article by Mr. Jeffrey Augustine, the ex-Scientologist and private investigator, November 18th, 2020. This is the gentleman that who's been sending me a lot of the paperwork that was dealing with Rizza's case. He been hiding, running around being a hypocrite, pretending he ain't did nothing wrong. He just think magically that fraud case that everybody else played out to, except him, and how Alfreddie, I think Johnson, his stepdaddy, didn't sign no paperwork and left his mother holding the bag, rest in peace, while he fled to Florida and watched Rizza hang in the wind by herself. And it was Alfreddie who put all them in the game and set this whole thing up. Like I said, you know, Rizza, you a special kind of stupid to allow that man to just ride in the air. So I guess you just gonna go ahead and take that time, and that man gonna watch you hang too, huh? Boy, I tell you. But this your boy right here. This your boy, right? You talking about you don't defend Aaron Hubbard. That's a lie. Because you don't have to defend him per se, but you sure was knee deep in his science fiction work, and you was basically defending him just in a roundabout way. And this is another problem that I have with black people who are interviewing you. Lord Jamar, this is poor journalism. All right? And I don't expect people to be the same as people who went to school for this. But if you're gonna use a computer to research and understand what something is about, y'all wouldn't be asking this guy questions. Y'all confused because you're not researching what Scientology is. Excuse me. So let me help y'all with that. All right? And you can use these videos to spank this clown, because he gonna make all y'all look bad when he go to court and all this stuff come out. Y'all gonna be sitting there looking crazy because all y'all did was, you know, what you was doing over there in Scientology, and then start buck dancing and just let him throw the snake oil on the floor and then moonwalk all around y'all and sprinkle pixie dust, and you just stuck there looking crazy. He done got away again clean. So let's go. And I'm saying this because the 5%ers, y'all share the same idea about Caucasians, but then y'all let somebody who come through dance around you and play these games. Now listen to, watch this. Written by Aaron Hubbard, Scientology's original OT 8 level, had Hubbard describing himself as the Antichrist spoken of in the book of Revelation. So what we're about to read is what he wrote himself, but it take a long time and a bunch of money to get to the top for him to tell you this. All right, no doubt you are familiar with the Revelation section of the Bible where various events are predicted. Also mentioned is a brief period of time in which an arch enemy of Christ, referred to as the Antichrist, will reign and his opinions will have sway. All this makes for very fantastic, entertaining reading, but there's truth in it. This Antichrist represents the forces of Lucifer, literally the light bearer or light bringer. Lucifer being a mythical representation of the force of enlightenment, the Galactic Confederacy. My mission could be said to fulfill the biblical promise represented by this brief Antichrist period. During this period, there's a fleeting opportunity for the whole scenario to be effectively derailed, which will make it impossible for the mass Maccabean landing second coming to take place. The second coming is designed, among other things, to trigger a rapid series of destructive events. In this same OT8 document, Hubbard slanders Jesus Christ as a pedophile. For those of you whose Christian toes I may have stepped on, let me take this opportunity to disabuse you of some lovely myths. For instance, the historic Jesus was not nearly the sainted figure he has been made out to be. In addition to being a lover of young boys and men, he was given to uncontrollable bursts of temper and hatred that belied the general masters of love. So once again, the Nation of Islam, who claims that they follow the Quran and they believe in certain sections of the Bible, and they do admit to them that Jesus was a real person, why are y'all involved in an organization that says this about one of the prophets that y'all say was sent by Allah? He claims that Jesus Christ was a pedophile. So the point is, if Rizza and them claims that they supposed to study everything, then why did you not see this? See, the point is, you didn't study it if you started at 9 years old, meaning you didn't look at it before you got involved. Like most people, we came up already in something. And eventually, if it's meant for you to wake up, you get out of it, double back on it, and look at it and say, oh, this is foolishness. Or somebody bring it to your attention and you say, wow, this is foolishness. So that being the point, even if we look at, say, Tony Muhammad, who was brought in, who brought Farrakhan in, y'all didn't do no looking into this stuff. You can't say, oh, we just took Dianetics, that's their belief. No. Because people who are corrupt like that, they don't have positive divine connections to certain things. This person can't say all of these disparaging things, right? And then say he got a tool to help humanity. Now, according to Rizza and his other clip I used, he said Scientology has done more for humanity than a bunch of religions combined. And that would include Nation of Islam, because Nation of Islam is not a religion, it's a cult. It's a black version of Al-Islam with black faces in it. All right? So he's defending Scientology, but not defending El Rahamba. Or he said to Pierre, oh, if you think I'm pushing Scientology, I ain't pushing Scientology. Yes, you are. Dianetics is a part of Scientology, you idiot. But he's not an idiot, he's a liar. And you have these poor journalists sitting in here allowing this fool to say these things because they didn't study what L. Ron Hubbard was about. But I'm going to help y'all. I'm going to learn you today. I'm going to learn you. All right, so you have only to look at the history, his teachings inspired to see what his invited believes. It is historical fact, and yet man still clings to the idea so associated with the serpent in the garden, the beast and other emissaries of the prince of darkness. Yet in certain passages and esoteric interpretation of the Bible, much of which has been taken out and effectively suppressed for centuries, as well as the Kabbalah, the truth reveals itself quite nicely for the clever and the ungullible. Now, the part of him saying that Jesus was a sexual deviant comes from the Jews' Talmud and the Mishnah, where they was calling him Isa Panthera. I went through this in my older videos in the historical Jesus, and this was them using that as a deterrent to Flavius Piso, who took the character, or not the character, the son of Cleopatra, Mark Antony, Caesarion Ptolemy XV, who the Jesus story was created by. That was their version of getting back at Josephus, right? Because he was the one that turned on his Jewish constituents for the Romans, and that, so by him trying to create this half Egyptian, half Roman, right, who lived 80 years before them, right, that was them disrespecting what Josephus Piso was trying to do. All right, this had no real bearing on the Phoenician, Egyptian, Roman, the last pharaoh of Egypt. All right, you need to get some of the information that Afro Uno put out on that, as well as you got people like Ralph Ellis out there. It's a lot of people that talks about the son of Cleopatra. That's the real Jesus, for lack of a better term. All right, he had nothing to do with no creed, no Christianity. He wasn't a Jew. All that stuff was lies. All right, so this is where Mr. Hubbard was getting that from. So if you read the Kabbalah, they got a lot of freaky deaky stuff in there, in their cult, the same way Hollywood and all those entertainers that are Scientologists are in the occult. All of them in the music industry, all of them understand this. All right. Say, we accept George W. White's personal testimony that these are the authentic words written by L. Ron Hubbard, contained in a letter dated May 5th, 1980. White was on the original OT-8 course delivered on the free winds in July 1988. Former scientist, executive of Frank Olive and Jesse Prince have also corroborated the document as being authentic. All right, former Scientologist Stephen Fishman introduced the original OT-8 documents into his court case. Scroll down to read the document citation for the court case. All right, so we're gonna roll down here. We ain't even got to use L. Ron Hubbard Jr., who Mr. Islam wants to try to play it off like he just saying stuff. Talking, I want to see the real stuff. But all you got to do is go down here. It's the document down here. See the penthouse. We got the penthouse interview. That's what the junior. We're going to skip the junior. See, here we go right here. What it say? Fisherman Exhibit OT-8 Part 2. The OT-8 Part 2. U.S. District Court, Central District of what? California. Fisherman Case Number 91-6426, HLM, Texas. Hubbard Communication Office. See, coming from Hubbard Communication Office, St. Hill Manor, East Grinstead, Sussex. HCO Bulletin of May 5th, 1980, issue number 1. And if and again, Rizza wouldn't know about this because he ain't make it to no OT-8. He was trying to get the money up, and that's why they was scamming and scheming them people over there in California, trying to get that bread so they can jump up the ladder, so they can get these higher forms of information. Just like the Masons, when they get to the top, when you get like around 30 degrees and start going above, you start realizing a lot of that stuff you was told was foolishness. All right, so let's see. Let's read, because it's right here. It said, by the time you read this, I will no longer be occupying the body and identify that you have known as Ron. That identity continues to live in the hearts and minds of many, as well as one source tech and administrative centers around the planet. And I will inspire for years to come Scientologists and lovers of truth everywhere. What follows is a story that has been withheld for reasons which will soon be obvious until such time as there were enough OTs that something could be done about it. The time is now. It is not a nice or pretty story, but I trust undoubtedly heard places of data over the years that hinted at the greater untold reality of my mission here on Earth. So now we finna get into his real mission on Earth. That means anything that they done up to OT-8 was not his real mission. Now this is what because he said by the time people get a hold of this, he'll be dead. But his real mission is here. He said it ain't pretty. All right. He says, but the story was never greater nor spoken in its entirety due to the security problems that have unfortunately always plagued the organization. It is only now that I feel it's safe to release the choice in the matter. The hour draws that near. I am not going to delve too deeply into specifics, as people have a tendency to bog themselves down in significance, which would only serve to delay the immediacy of the task at hand. Therefore, I will be brief. Right, some 80 odd million years ago, Earth time, it actually dates at 78,395,042, but dates are a bit superfluous. With this material plans were drawn by a group outside the MEST universe for the eventual takeover of a good portion of this universe. Not a particular large nor imaginative crew. Their exterior perspective, however, gives them considerable advantage over the time-bound heliotrophobus. They conceive an ongoing implant, some portions of which have been carefully controlled, genetic mutation at incident 2 of OT3, and periodically reinforced by controlled historic events. Since then, makes it effectively impossible for being on the more heavily affected planet, gives the subject population greater and greater susceptibility to the telepathic impingement and direction of that controller. In this final stage, the progression becomes almost geometric, and it is this final stage that we are rapidly approaching. All right, let me jump down here. What it say? Let's see. Because he started really going into some crazy stuff. But let's see. Here you go. No doubt you are familiar with the Revelation section of the Bible where various events are predicted. Also mentioned is a brief period of time in which an arch enemy of Christ, referred to as the Antichrist, will reign. His opinion will have sway. All this makes for very fantastic, entertaining reading, but there's truth in it. This Antichrist represents the forces of Lucifer, literally the light bearer or light bringer. Lucifer being a mythical representation of the forces of enlightenment, the Galactic Confederacy. My mission could be said to fulfill the biblical promise represented by this brief Antichrist period. During this period, there is a fleeting opportunity for the whole scenario to be effectively derailed, which would make it impossible for the mass Maccabean landing, second coming, to take place. The second coming is designed, among other things, to trigger a rapid series of destruction. With the exception of the original Buddhism, virtually all religions of any consequence on this planet, mono and pantheistic alike, have been instruments to speed the progress of this evolution of consciousness and bring about the eventual enslavement of mankind. So now he's saying everything except Buddhism, right? Original Buddhism, everything else being used to help the enslavement of mankind. So that means Nation of Islam falls under that, even though it's not a religion. They call it a religion, right? Everything. All of this stuff is what he taught them at the top. As you know, Siddhartha Gautama never claimed to be anything more than a man. Having caught on to this operation, he postulated his own return as Maitreya, part of which prophecy would have been fulfilled upon the passing of L. Ron Hubbard. All right, so we can go on and on and on, but this is a document that came from L. Ron Hubbard's office, written or typed up by himself or his secretary, whoever the case is. This debunks what this clown was saying. Mr. I studied more than anybody in my generation, still trying to place himself as somebody important, and he's not. You're not African American, you're not Ethiopian, you don't have kinky hair, you're not a part of our race. Stop infiltrating. You need to be trying to find out how you're going to invest in a bulletproof car, in a vest, and how you're going to learn how to eat air, because they own you, boy. You on that list. You got bigger fish to fry. While you sitting here talking about everybody else, you a real fool. And anybody in the Nation of Islam who cares about their own self will get out of that cult as well and distance yourself from all of these infidels. Because Farrakhan been compromised. And y'all sitting here watching this dumbness, and he threatened a lot of y'all that if you don't take Dianetics and follow him, you can't be a Muslim. You don't supposed to be following him. The man of any particular organization, if they claim to be such a great leader, they need to move with what the book say. And Farrakhan been calling himself the Christ since 2015, but according to L. Ron Hubbard, Christ was a homosexual. So what did that mean for Farrakhan? And anybody else that claims to be some type of Jesus figure, because religion is a spell. But the point is, how can y'all allow yourselves to listen to this tomfoolery? This is pure ignorance. Y'all better get away from that dummy. Ronnie is a clown, and he done made a fool of y'all and himself, and now he got himself on a hit list. You're in trouble now. Don't cry for me, Argentina. It's over. You should have stopped when you got caught the first time stealing $3.8 million working for Scientology to try to pimp the people in Compton. And I guess the real people that's going to put hands and feet on you from Compton, they must ain't know what you done. There's no way you was able to walk around these people and they didn't take your head off. You should have been got instead of Nipsey, because you a clown. You a real clown. You in 2 criminal organizations with both leaders are mentally insane. Y'all can't even find the leader of Scientology because he on the run for using underage people to do work for him, and his wife missing. She probably got murdered. They ain't seen her. They don't know where she at. Like I said, this is poor journalism. And y'all should be ashamed of yourselves because this guy's record is in public domain. It don't make no sense. Show me the kind of peace in wartime.
Team me up, man, KP.
There's no one like you around.
dirty, water foul. If you offer this to the people, they have no choice. They'll drink from it if they're thirsty. When you offer them this glass, and let them make their own decision, they will choose the pure vessel.